not people. Let's not make that plural.
This call is being recorded.
Good morning. I'll call the meeting to order. Just a note, the ASB board will be conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with the MGA section 199. At this time, public attendance at ASB meetings will be facilitated through virtual means, the conference call. To join the call, please dial 403-917-1764. And the PIN is 47001. Just a note, all meetings are to be recorded and may be posted on the official Wheatland County website and social media channels. I'll have, are there any errors, additions, or omissions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple additions to the agenda under item 4.1, correspondence and information. There is a video from the Red Deer River Watershed Alliance entitled Source Water, the Rivers That Shape Us, as well as an email from Calgary Stampede regarding the BMO Farm Family Awards.
Is there any other additions? Seeing none, can I have a mover?
I can move the agenda be adopted as presented, as amended.
Is there anybody else that would like to move that? No, I'm kidding. Member Link has moved. Any questions? Oh, sorry, guys. Just with the meeting being via conference call and in person, I will be calling for negative votes. Sorry, I should have said that before. So is there anybody in opposition of the motion? Hearing and seeing none, that is carried. Adoption of the meeting minutes from previous two meetings.
I'll move the adoption of the minutes
Of the organizational.
the ASB organizational meetings of January 13th. Thank you.
Tom has moved. Any errors in the minutes? Any questions on the motion? Seeing and hearing none, that is carried. ASB meeting minutes, the 13th regular meeting.
I'll move them if there's no additions or errors.
Any errors? Any opposition? Hearing and seeing none, that is carried. We'll move down to 2.3 new business, 0.1, 21-23, Agriculture and Environmental Department Strategic Plan Update. This beautiful little book here we got.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, so our strategic plan was presented at our October, I believe, ASB meeting last year. As well, it was brought forward with the rest of the strategic plans to council. There is a couple changes, primarily with hosting of the ASB tour. We decided to opt out of that, so that's been removed from the plan. As well as with our mowing system, we did have a plan to phase out of our grader mowers. We've just taken that out. We will still be reviewing it, but we may not necessarily get rid of the graders when we thought. What we're doing is we purchased a Tiger mower to add to our fleet. So we'll actually be dividing the municipality up into 3 divisions rather than 2 divisions for mowing. So we're going to use this year as an evaluation year to see how that goes with our reduced hours and see how far we get. So just before, like I said, we decide that we want to sell those grader mowers, we'll do a review this year. As well, goal 21.5, just in regards to our ag engagement strategy or communication strategy, we did have budget for hiring an external communication specialist to help with that. So we did change that. It'll be discussed in more detail under item number 4, I believe. But that has been removed from the plan as well. The budget is still there that we'll use for some other things, but I think we can get into that in more detail, as I said, through number 4. And that is all I have in regards to our strategic plan update.
Any questions for Russ? No questions? I would just like to say thank you. This is a great overview, update, and was it Alyssa? Did you do this? Not quite. Oh, sorry, guys. It's a little further. Yeah, well, yeah, that's the number 6. My bad. Got ahead of myself. I got excited. So then we'll move on to livestock.
Do you need a motion on that?
Yeah, to
this
accept
presentation? So I'll move
this
that the board
information.
accept the updated 21 to 23 agricultural and environmental department strategy plan as amended.
Any discussion on the motion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call a vote. Anybody in opposition of the motion? Hearing and seeing none, that is carried. Moving on to the 4-H livestock show and sale attendance.
So yes, this was also in our strategic plan as part of our agricultural engagement with the community, was to be able to attend the local 4-H shows and purchase 4-H calves and lamb. When we did the RFD, we were thinking, that there would be possibility of attending these events in person if they had them, and so it's looking like that may not be the case. But again, we'd still like to move forward with that. However they happen, if they're online or virtual. So whether there's a board member that participates with me, or if I could probably do it on my own, but yeah, so generally Hazard would have their show and sale late May. Wheatland West would have theirs in early June. And I know Wheatland West is just doing an online sale, I believe. Find out about Hazard as soon as I can. So, but yeah. And again, just a lot of the items we're bringing up now is just, like I said, they're detailed in our strategic plan, but I know it's easy to kind of forget, that many details, especially with all the other stuff you folks are dealing with. So we just felt it was important to bring this forward again, just for discussion, so everybody's on the same page with what we're doing and how we're moving forward with things.
Any questions for us? Do you feel the need to appoint a member, or do you believe Russ can carry out the buying of a calf, lamb?
What is the difference in your good?
Through the chair, and just to clarify, so there was $7,000 budgeted, so hopefully it's enough to buy a calf from each show and sale and 1 lamb. I know it depends.
Yeah, you'll be close.
So, also after the purchase, what would happen is the animals would just be shipped. So I'm thinking we'd recover probably half the cost of what we'd pay. So
2/3.
yeah. So
The only thing I worry about is it's getting pretty, looking pretty tight, like you're sort of looking like you're looking for the bargain of the sale. I'm not sure that is.
Well, that's okay.
Well, if anything, he's going to just bid everybody up.
Well, that's true. That's true. So, point taken.
So we good with Russ? Yeah. I might just pop in anyways. So then can we have, do you want a motion to direct you to do that? Or are you good with no motion?
I'm fine with the motion as it stands.
As it stands.
Yeah, and if you come and participate with me,
I wasn't
we can
gonna-
play it by ear.
Okay, can I have somebody move the recommendations then?
I'll move the recommendation that the board approve ASB member attendance at 2 local 4-H livestock sales for the purpose of purchasing livestock from 4-H members on behalf of Wheatland County Agricultural Service Board.
Any questions for the motion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the vote. Any opposition? Hearing and seeing none, that is carried. Technical support pilot program for ratepayers.
Again, another item in our strategic plan. With the kind of loss of Alberta Ag staff, especially from a technical support standpoint, I felt there was an opportunity to be able to provide a service for our ratepayers, particularly in regards to issues regarding horticultural questions or tree questions. Historically, we have gotten those types of questions over the years and dealt with them as best that we can. But it is an area that I think we could, like I said, provide a service by hiring a specialist to on contract to be able to deal with those questions. It's just to be of value, I think it needs to be somebody that has more expertise. And there is a couple of individuals or an organization and an individual. One is Oz, the Agroforestry and Woodlot Extension Society, that can deal with the tree issues. There is an ex-Alberta ag employee that I've dealt with in the past and that does have his own consulting business in regards to horticultural issues and quite a wide variety of issues, to be quite honest, from trees to the horticultural vegetable side of things. So what we would do is we had $5,000 budgeted for this, is hire them on a monthly basis, basically from May through till the end of September. And then when questions come in, they'd either be directed, in the case of Oz, the people could call them directly, or in the case of the other individual, we would be the go-between for the questions. So we'd use it as a year to see how much interest we had, how much uptake there is, and then go from there. They also have the capability to write fact sheets for us if need be, just as promotional items that can be sent out with newsletters or online, as well as webinars that can be hosted for, I believe it's all an extra cost. So, yeah. And that aligns with, I think, priority 4 in our strategic plan.
I just had a comment that maybe they should, if you're debating which way to go, maybe you should go through where they contact the county and then you ask the questions to the consultant, just so it looks like we are still supplying that service.
Yeah, and through the chair, that's a good point. And with, like I said, the one contractor, that's how he prefers it, and we can certainly start that way.
That way you
with
can actually
Oz.
know how many calls are coming in too.
Yeah, and we'll do that, and then it's just we can direct them to Oz after that to speak directly to them. So yeah, no, good point. Thanks.
Other questions for Russ?
I was going to say the same thing you did. So.
Way to go, Donna.
Good job.
I'll have the board's direction then if there's no further questions for us.
Already done this.
He's already on the agenda. Scott, make a motion.
So, oh, not really.
Page 27.
That the board accept the update about agriculture and environmental technical support pilot program as information.
Questions on the motion? Call the vote. Is there anybody in opposition of the motion made by member Bigger? Yes. Seeing no questions, is there anybody in opposition? I might have asked that, but seeing and hearing none, that's carried. We 2.34 Agriculture Engagement Strategy of 2021.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to turn this over to Alyssa, who developed this, and just also want to make note that it's in my report, and you folks may know, but Alyssa's leaving us for a job with Alberta Environment after 6 years with the municipality. So,
Did you cry, Russ?
yeah, we're certainly going to miss her.
I'll have to work harder now.
Yeah, to say the least. So part of the decision as well with the hiring of the communication person, Alyssa was the lead on our communication stuff. So with her leaving, we're just going to take a step back, obviously, and do as much as we can internally. But yeah, right from the strategic plan to the engagement strategy to the booklet you see here was all developed by her. So it's been a big part of everything we've done. So with that, I'll turn it over to Alyssa.
Thank you. No, thank you for that. It's been a really good 6 years with Wheatland. I started my early career here, so I have mad appreciation for the municipality for giving me the opportunities that I've had here. So thank you all for that. So to turn to the agricultural engagement strategy, so we developed this. So this particular, I'll turn your attention to the strategy itself. It's attached to the RFD. We present it as information to you. We're hoping to also have a bit of a conversation in association with this RFD, just to get your feedback and ideas towards the development of an actual activity plan for the remainder of the year. So 2 strategic priorities on our strategic plan, as Russ went through, to enhance agricultural communications, those being to increase producer interaction, strengthen relationships with our agricultural community, increase public awareness of the services that we offer, and raise the profile of our department. That's kind of that one side of the intent. The other is our strategic priority 4, so to promote the local agricultural industry. The hope there is to increase the profile of our farmers and our agricultural landscape to consumer, visitor, and residential / neighboring urban audiences, to strengthen external viewpoints of the agricultural industry and rural way of life, and to build partnerships with our local industry and agribusinesses for advancement of goals that we both hold. So to that end, we kind of broke what we were going to do this year up into 4 phases. The first being the development of a department logo or a department identifier, and to add agriculture into our existing environmental program update that you guys all have in front of you. So I'll go over those in the next 2 RFDs, but that's phase 1. It was essentially the transition between the first 2 phases ends today with the presentation of those to you and this conversation. So the second is to develop an engagement activity plan. So what are activities that we can actually achieve this year to further these goals with the budget that we have allocated? We need to come up with a good set list of ideas and kind of just a little plan to implement them all. Phase 3, so May through September, during the growing season, we hope to get out on the landscape and implement some of the activities that we've identified. Get out in the community. Of course, we're a little bit restricted as to what we can do this year, but it will set a good stage for subsequent years. And then in September to December, we can take what we've learned, take what we've done, and set a plan in motion for a subsequent year. So that's kind of what that looks like. There's some details provided on the back of that document, just to give you a little bit more information. I draw your attention to that phase 3 on the back side of the document, just because we've thrown some ideas in place as to what might be able to be accomplished. We thought about wider distribution of the document that you have in front of you, the Agriculture and Environment Program Update. Promotional materials containing a department identifier so that people can have more awareness of who we are. An Agricultural Appreciation Day. There's been ideas tossed around there as to what we might be able to do in that regard. Staff attendance at the 4-H show and sales to get out in the community and support those programs are a positive thing that we can be doing. Nomination of local farmers for external awards is an idea that's tossed around. So as things like the Alberta Beef Producers Environmental Stewardship Award comes up, I think we as a group, there's potential to select people and put nominations forward to make sure that our farmers are getting recognized for those types of opportunities. Development of producer profiles to showcase what is agriculture in Wheatland. Let's pick some people and really showcase the good things that they're doing, those types of ideas. Identifying key messaging, creating digital materials that we can use for extension, those types of things. So with that, I'm hoping to get some feedback from you folks as to what are the ways that you could see our group, be it ASB and the department, together interacting with and promoting agriculture in our community. How do we get in touch with the people that you know in your divisions? What are the best ways of interacting and building relationships? So I put that to you.
I like the idea of the 4-H. Of course, I can't really go out there right now. I guess the egg societies, maybe? Somehow, I don't really know how, but they usually have an event. Every egg society has like a main event. Possibly there. Like there's Gleason, Carsland, Cheadle, Muirfield, do they have one? Strathmore? Pretty much every community.
I honestly don't know if Cheadle is still active.
If it's not, there's always the Lions Club put something on usually.
Active 50 years ago, I know that.
Scott?
Yeah, go to Smiley's in the morning. You can talk to all of them. They're always there. Buy coffee, they'll talk to you. The Egg Societies is a good one. Strathmore's, I think, is regearing some of their plans to build a new building and focus some more local stuff, which is good. I was thinking some about promoting local ag to, like, I'm just thinking like the Wheatland County Food Bank and stuff. If you can connect those two, they're always looking for stuff. And if you could, of course, it has to meet certain regulations, but that would be some way to promote local, right? So, and I'm in the food hauling business. I see it all the time, and I still see an abundance of waste. Like, it is absolutely ridiculous how much gets thrown in those green bins every day at every store I go to. 5 of them a day, and at least there's 4 tote bins full of stuff getting thrown out. And a lot of it is stuff that if someone was a pig farmer, they could easily use it, and it just gets composters or landfilled or whatever. And there's a problem there with grocery stores will not let it go that way anymore. It has to go. And that should almost shift back to the way it used to be, where a local guy could go pick it up and utilize it. Because I think that's if you want to talk green, they do it in China, they do it all in Europe all the time, and it works.
Just a follow-up on that, there was an article with National Geographic here 5, 6, 7 months ago. I remember the numbers right. There were 40% of the food that you're talking about never reaches the shelf. Stuff that reaches the shelf, you're right, 40 to 50% of it ends up in the garbage. But we're putting a lot of food in a lot of pigs getting happy on it down in the States. They're feeding a lot of that to them. But to me, I'm more old-fashioned. You want to get in touch with people, you get in your truck and you start driving around this time of year. They're all out in their yard working on machinery. You stop and chat with them. The Ag Service Societies, yeah, you'll get some of the ones in the community, but you won't get the ones that are out there, walking around the yard doing their thing. And you catch them in their yard, you catch them doing what they're really interested in and what they love doing. You'll find out more there than you will in your life. That takes a lot of manpower and a lot of hours. So. But that's right. That's what I say. You just drive around and pull in and talk to them. Or stuff you put on these computers or whatever you do with that stuff. They're all into that now. They do a lot of that reading. Yeah. Just personal, face-to-face. It's probably easier nowadays doing that out in the rural areas than it is anything else with all this other shit going on.
Tom?
Probably sort of along the same lines, but I'm thinking like when you have farmers markets and table to kind of events and that, just to get, like, we've got a new logo out here and get that brand, sort of that, get people realizing that a lot of this stuff can be local, and it's or might very well be local stuff. So I think just getting more in, like, just get more of that logo out there and just get people to think about where food's coming from. So.
Barry?
Yeah, it's basically the same. It's more direct contact with the producers, like Ben was saying, and then the 4-H and your ag society groups. Just know where your food comes from. It comes from the farmer. That's basically it. More direct contact with people.
Brittany? Do you mind throwing your opinions in?
Yeah, 4-H would be a big one. I excited a little bit, but I don't have anything new to tell you guys.
Listen, you want to just ask the question again for member Link? I'm sure she's
My
got something.
apologies, I'm sorry.
Sure. We have the appointment at 9:30. I think the person is here. Do we want to put a pause on the conversation and come back to it, perhaps?
Through the chair, yeah, that's fine with me, and then I'll have some comments afterwards as well, if that works.
I'm not wearing a mask, and I'm shaking Rod's hand. I can hug it. He's not much of a hugger. I know.
Just don't kiss him.
I was wondering why you did your hair today.
I got a little shower and put a hat on. That's how guys do their hair. Yeah, I'll recess. Greatest. Let's come back in. So do you want to just do a quick...
This call is being recorded.
Ladies?
This call is being transcribed.
Okay, to recap the discussion so far, so we're on, what agenda item is it here? Agenda item 4, agricultural engagement strategy, and I'm just looking for feedback from the group as to ways that we can best engage with the people that you know in your communities when it comes to promoting the agricultural industry or connecting them with the programs that we have, or getting feedback from them about what we can be doing better on our side of things from both the ASB standpoint and the internal staff standpoint. So just looking for feedback from you guys as to how best engage with our agricultural community.
And we'll just go right to Amber because she was missing there for a bit, and then we'll come back to Donna because I know she has a follow-up.
Yeah, and my apologies, I had to step out. For me, I always think if we can find organic ways to do it, like creating events is excellent. And what I love about what our ASB does is just the value in the events that you do create. So the educational opportunities and the programs that are offered, those are invaluable, and I actually think we could capitalize on that more by, even if maybe sometimes I look at them and I think, oh, I would actually be interested in attending that. I'm not an egg producer and I recognize that, but I would like to understand the industry more so that when I'm sitting in this chair, when I'm sitting in our council chair, I can have a better understanding of how to serve our egg producers. So I wonder even about, and we could kind of maybe cycle it, like 1 or 2 ASB members attend like the ladies livestock event or the ranching, I'm trying to think what it's called, ranching opportunities. Those are intermunicipal ones, so maybe a little bit more challenging just to connect with our producers, but still a good opportunity. I was actually tempted to come to the mental health, oh my gosh.
It was really good.
The name just is escaping me and I love them. Do More Egg, thank you, sorry. I was so tempted to come to that, but then I didn't want to interfere with the value of the program for the egg producers, but I have such an interest in that. But I wonder, maybe not something sensitive like that where it might interfere, but where it's an educational opportunity, if we could be at those just to have more connections between the board and our egg producers. And then I had another thought. go to Donna, maybe it will come back to me. I think just capitalizing, because you guys do such strong programming, I know you have good relationships established with our egg producers. I know the other thing real quick. It was just us as an ASB member taking a more active role in, I hate the word ambassador, but like amplifying what we're already doing, whether it's through just like one-on-one conversations with ratepayers or through social media or whatever mechanisms that we have.
Donna? If you still have it on your
In my head.
mind.
So I thought about where, like, producers, I was trying to go for events, and since events isn't that doable right now. So they go to P&H, all the elevators. They go, I don't know if they're going to stockyards anymore, but instead of them, so going in through your retail kind of is like doing promotional items, like even as simple as a prize box, you know, put your name in for a draw. Wheatland County is offering something, even a, what do you call it, promotional item, or going to one of your seminars, anything like that. So offering it at the retail with the signage logo there. That was it. The other one was a farm trade show. And then I thought of the work that would be, and then I just kind of thought I'd better not say that. But I do like farm, I do want to trade, as through economic development, I think we should be doing trade shows. But doing a farm one is a little bit more harder to do. Anyway, thanks.
Any other comments? Yeah, just to piggyback on both Donna and Amber, I think, like Amber said, to create new events works good, but it's a lot of work involved. And just going back to Donna's first thought with ag societies or other community organizations, I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Western events in the county. I mean, there's really no appearance from Wheatland County. Like, we aren't seen at all. We could be there with booths. I mean, it is more staff time, but we can have ASB members volunteer. We can have a staff member there who knows the logistics of the programs better than we ever could. I mean, I don't think it's our job to dive in that deep to understand. We should be able to relay information, but we shouldn't be able to. We don't have the experience that perhaps Alyssa or Sarah have. So I think if we have those booths at those organizations that the majority of our ratepayers and egg producers go to, I think that just the visibility, I think, helps a lot. Not only that, I mean, we talked last meeting about kind of a trade show, but not really. I mean, we're going around to each business, small business in the county. Why don't we pick the odd farm and just stop in and say, hey, can we do an interview? We want to post it. We want to get your information out to the consumers and other people, and just so they know, like, I mean, this was great today, but what if you went to Rod and Beth and you went to the offsite watering and say, hey, this is the options that we're providing. This is one of your neighbors using it, and hear it from Rod rather than one of our staff members, right? I think that's a big, I mean, we're in rural Alberta, and right now, I'll be honest, nobody likes the government, and I love our staff, but it's much easier as a producer to hear how something's working when it's coming from another producer. And if we just make that connection as elected officials and government, I won't say bureaucrats, staff, I think that's where we could really excel.
I think that's brilliant. Like, that is really brilliant, because I agree there's more validity if you're hearing from an actual producer. But I think if our team is there too to provide some of the technical details or more information about programs. But I do agree that I think hearing, even this morning, like when I was thinking about how Rod and Beth do like the work that they do benefits the environment, but it also benefits their operations. And that's what people need to understand, that you can do both. It can benefit the environment, and by doing so, contribute to your sustainability as an operation and not just like environmental sustainability. So yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea. Love it.
And again, it is more staff time, but it gets us out into the producers, and it gets the producers out to the consumers. And that just helps the mandate of ASB, I think. So I don't know if there's...
Mr. Chairman, could I make one comment?
Yeah, go ahead, Barb.
Sure. Just a thought, Alyssa. There is a gal within Alberta Agriculture who writes articles for Agri-News, Christine Chomiak. I could give you her contact information if you do end up doing any interviews with producers about certain things that they are doing that you'd like to sort of promote. She's always looking for articles as well, and it does seem when a producer reads an article about a local person, they're always quite interested. I could email you her contact as well.
That would be excellent. Thank you, Barb.
Any other comments? Is that kind of what you were looking for?
That is. I appreciate the feedback from everybody, both on the call and here. No, that was excellent. It just to get your perspectives about what we can be doing.
Amber, go ahead.
Just one last idea. I think we could try and connect with the producer groups too. Like the Forage and Grazing, I'm thinking like they do newsletters. Sometimes they get flagged, like I have some searches that get flagged in. Rod does some writing for them as well, like obviously for them, but like within the beef industry, within grain, like there's so many organizations, and even if you picked one or two to target, like even one a quarter or something where, I don't know how much advertising costs in some of their newsletters or that type of thing, but particularly if you could like pair what you were discussing with, you could just, rather than an ad, you could have like I forget what they call it, but like pay for it, but have it be an actual story about Rod's experience with the Alice program, and a picture of him at his offsite waterer with a little bit of editorial around it, but blast that out like maybe in some of the beef producer, I don't even know what they are, but we could find that out. That might be another way. So you kind of pair those ideas.
Yeah, and I think collaboration between those industry organizations. I mean, we've had a presentation from the Wheat Commission of Alberta, and it was a local resident, Hannah Conchu, came in. You make that connection. I mean, you have the Foothills Forages Grazing Association, like with Rod. You have the Western Stockmans. Guichons are part of that, and they're big into that. So we do have the expertise in the area, and if we can piggyback and collaborate with those organizations as well. I fully agree, Amber. That's a great point. Any other comments? Russ, you want to jump in? Or listen?
Yeah. So those are a lot of excellent ideas. So where we're at right now is we're going to kind of take this conversation away. We're going to take a look at the budget that we have and the capacity that we have for the remainder of the year, and kind of put together a plan for what can be done, kind of given current climate and everything, what can be done this year and what can be put on the books for next year, with regards to like attending things like you'd mentioned, putting booths together, doing all of those really good things that we can be doing to be out there and be seen in the community. So we can take this. I've taken really good notes, and I'll take this away, and Russ and I'll discuss and figure out what we can put to paper. So, thank you.
Perfect.
Just through the chair, maybe just to add, just thank you very much for all the comments, and it very much aligns with kind of what we have done.
Have you taken the vaccine?
It does align to things we've done in the past and, talked to some degree or not. I just do want to make mention of the on-farm producer visits and how valuable that's been for me over the years. It's certainly been, one of the best parts of my job that has, kind of declined over the years, because of administration and just an extra load from that standpoint. So that is a plan, or one of the things, that I would certainly like to get back out and do whether it stops at the auction market or stops at Guy's Farm. So you're absolutely right. That's the best way to find out kind of the pulse of the people. So, so again, yeah, thanks for everything. I think we can, make a good plan going forward. So.
Sounds good. I think there is a recommendation to accept Alyssa's presentation as information. We already gave the feedback, so if I can have a mover.
So moved.
Member Link has moved for recommendations. Any questions on the motion? Any opposition to the motion? Hearing and seeing none, that is carried. Number 5, a new agriculture and environmental logo.
Yeah, so again, just kind of part of our overall ag strategy and communication plan was to develop a department identifier, not to take place of the Wheatland County logo, which, has a lot of history and is recognized, but just to have something that we can use on our own publications, like the Ag and Environment publication. So we, like I said, I'll turn it over to Alyssa, but I do want to recognize Mackenzie, who did end up developing the logo we're using. So we do have a lot of talented people here within the organization. Originally, this wasn't my thought as where we would go with it, but to be quite honest, I absolutely love it. I think it's perfect. It fits us as a department and the organization. And I think it's relatable, and it looks really great. So with that, I'll maybe just turn over to Alyssa.
Yeah, so kind of how it came to be is we were thinking to ourselves, so if we were to hand out hats, just hats to our landowners, what would they want on the front of it? And it's what would be cool. And we looked at the logo and we're like, well, the Longhorn, that'd be cool, right? That's, if you think of like the Hui brand or different things like that, that's what they are, is just one cool looking, Western looking logo. So Russ and I kind of went, okay, Longhorn. And then I got in touch with Mackenzie and I said, okay, what can we do with the Longhorn? And she kind of took it from there. So it ended up becoming what it is. Sarah helped us out as well with just, different aspects of the design and things like that. And so it kind of became a team effort that led to this. We got a lot of feedback internally. And so today what we're looking for is your support in its use on different documents. The thought is, if we're going out in the community and we're saying attending a farm, well, here's a hat, here's something that's got this logo on it, we're your ag department, we're here to help you. We hope that you'll be proud to have or wear whatever it is with this logo, because we're a department that helps people. So that's kind of the thought. It was included in phase 1 of the plan because it can assist many of those activities that would be put into phase 3. As like Russ said, if he likes it, I also quite like what we've come to. We had a bunch of different, we had a graphic designer that we were working with that kind of came up with a bunch of other concepts, but this one just rang. There was no comparison by the time we developed one internal that we were all in love with. So with that, I guess I look for your feedback and your support on use of the logo.
Comments?
I absolutely love it. Love it. I love that it maintains the tradition of the Longhorn, right from the original brand, and keeps that heritage piece there. And then it's so clean and modern and amazing. Just, you guys blow me away every time you do in-house branding, honestly, because I know how expensive it can be. I've done it for other businesses, and this is phenomenal. And I think it works really well with the Infinite WC, because it's kind of modernized it. And then wherever the corporate branding for the county goes, I think it will all work really well together. So I'm grateful. Thank you.
Pardon me, I really like it as well. Just wondering, are we going to brand the ag service trucks with this? Is that a thought? Does it kind of individualize the department?
Yeah, we haven't, I guess, thought quite that far ahead. And maybe it'll depend what we do as a municipality with our overall branding. So there is, out the front of our Ag Service Board shop, we do have a sign there that, could be updated with this. We had used, when we built the shop, our Running Bar G brand on that sign. So, but yeah, it's something that could be considered, whether it's the main focus on a vehicle or even just in the back quarter panel of the truck, just to help identify. We do use, our trucks are red, kind of as, our a department identifier. So yeah, I think we could incorporate it somehow into that.
And I know you love branding. Take her away.
Well, when you're talking about putting it on the trucks, because you move trucks in and out of departments, your best bet is a window sticker. Put it on both sides of the truck on that back window, because you always have that extra window behind the driver. And they're easy to put on, they're easy to take off, and fairly inexpensive.
I really like it, but I've always got to be the negative one. I would love to have seen the new chevron instead of the wheat heads. That's just me. I would have just loved to have seen that, because I think it would tie in to the WC branding. But that is just me. But other than that, I love it. It's clean. And I love the fact that a steerhead, I never know that is the exact same shape as the county of Wheatland. Overlay it on a map. Oh, maybe not.
Oh, I was like, what the? Okay, we got to start skipping Tom. We got to stop. Yeah.
No, it looks good.
Barry, any other comments?
No, I like it. It's new to me. I just see it today, so it's kind of a shocker. No, it looks good. Yeah.
Looks good, Brittany. Barb?
Yeah, it looks great. Looks good.
Well, I think that's consensus. I have the direction of the board.
I'll move that the board support the use of the new Agriculture and Environmental Department logo as a sub-logo to the Wheatland County logo for the purpose of promoting department activities and representing the themes of agriculture and environment in Wheatland County.
Any questions on the motion? Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. Any opposition? Hearing and seeing none, it is carried. Moving on. Now we get to see this nice new blue book.
Yeah, so historically, Alyssa started this as an update to the environmental portion of our programming. And this year the thought was to include ag and environment just as a whole. And I think it's really added a lot to the publication. And yeah, I'm really proud of the job she did on it, and all the activities that we have. And I think it'll be a great promotional tool for us. And I just see us continuing this way rather than just strictly environment, to have it ag and environment. So.
Oh, just a question with this book. Is there any thought of taking this and putting it in the grade 4 or 5 classes in the schools? That way you'll get it into all the homes anyways. And about that age there, those kids might read through it, go through it that was the age group that they looked at when they used to do that ag in the classroom program that I was part of 20 years ago, whatever it was. Might not be a bad idea to stick them in that not all the kids, but in that grade 4 to 5 group.
Yeah, through the chair, Ben. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, we have talked about getting it a wider audience in the past, right? That it hasn't been sent out to everybody, So yeah, we've talked about possibly just doing a mail out to all residents in the municipality. I'm not sure what that would cost with a publication that size. So, but certainly the schools is a good option to get that out to as many people as possible. So.
Well, it's a good lead-in to a school program, to go in there and talk to the kids, and you bring that in with you, and then they take that home to their parents. So.
I think that's a good idea. That's right. When Russ says to mail out to all people too, there's things that you can do with paper quality, for example, to make it less of a costly print. If we were to mail it out. We do small amounts of the nicer paper. In past years, we've mailed them out to stakeholders, different people like Foothills Forage and Grazing Association, different organizations that we interact with, just so they know what's going on in our world. On the note of grade 4 or 5 classes, I think that's a great idea. Another thing that came to mind was even dentist offices, like, you know, how there's publications and stuff people can sit and read, those types of things. Might be a good place. People local can learn about what's going on here. So thank you.
And just to add to your plate so that you got lots to do, because you haven't got enough to do yet. Just want, if you're putting this in the classroom and you're talking to the kids, it'd be nice to have a couple of cartoons or puzzles, especially if you're in that grade 4 to 5 grade group. So when they're going through it, they've got something they can actually do. Pick out the environmental issues or color this or that kind of thing. And it gives them.
Yeah, through the chair. Yeah, that's a good idea, Ben. We haven't participated in the Ag in the Classroom. George Bloom has historically gone out and done that. And again, unfortunately, it's, on the back burner with everything else. But we could look at doing something separate even for that, more tailored to grade 4 to students that would fit this publication as well. So
If you're going down that route too, in the future, like if you're having this kind of publication and you're talking about showing watering stuff, you could have that little link where you your phone and you can scan it, because kids know how to do that. They know better than me. And they could go and then it would bring that link and show the watering stuff and show a video, and they would love that stuff.
I mean, 4 and 5 might be a little young, but
Oh, no.
definitely.
No.
They just eat it up.
Seriously, a grade 1
4,
student
not
could
8.
do it.
Grade 4, they're
There's more
they're 10
iPhones in
years
grade
old.
4 and 5 than anywhere right now. Yeah.
They're 10 years old. They're into that kind of shit all over the place.
They could probably write the code for the app. Seriously.
Yeah.
But that's just kind of, you see that in a lot of publications now, that little square thing or whatever, And then it provides other information so easily, and it's easy to connect to. So.
I mean, I'd take them all and drop them off at some restaurants if they were open, but God knows that ain't going to happen.
But people in waiting rooms don't really look at magazines anymore either. They're on their
Depends
phone.
on how old you are.
Yeah.
They're on their phone. You're on your phone here. But it's sort of like, and like I see a lot of advertising on the little games you play on your phone. Like there'll be, if you want something, it'll get, and I see a lot of local advertising coming from that now. Edson does that. There's lots of stuff for it, and it provides just that little blurb. I don't know how much that costs or whatever, but it's out there. So.
Any other comments on the publication?
Good job, anyways.
Yeah, really good job. Fantastic.
See? I'm going to miss you, Alyssa. You won't have that.
Yeah, thank you.
You can't have that same standard at Attleboro Environment. Just saying, I know, dealt with that department. You might raise the bar just a wee too high for them.
Yeah. No kidding. I'll have the board's direction then. There's a recommendation there.
I'll make the motion that the board accept the 2020 Agricultural and Environment Program Update publication as information.
Scott's made the motion. Any questions or concerns with the motion? Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call a vote. Those opposed? Hearing and seeing none, that is carried. Alice Advisory Committee Terms of Reference.
Historically we've had our PAC committee, our Alice Partnership Advisory meetings after Agricultural Service Board, but it's just a little too difficult because of times that we finish and just not necessarily falling within the right time frame as we need. So this was discussed at our last PAC meeting, and I think I brought it up to the board before of changing meeting dates to just the call of the Alice coordinator. So that's just the update that's been made to our terms of reference. And so I think it'll work out much better, and we may not even need 4 meetings a year if we're able to just have them at a more timely spot, depending where we're at. So that's it.
questions?
No questions. I'll recommend that the board approves the Alice Partnership Advisory Committee terms of reference as amended.
Questions, concerns with the motion made? Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, is there any opposition to the motion? Hearing or seeing none, that is carried. 238, provincial ASB conference attendance for the future.
Yeah, so each region of our Alberta Ag Fieldmen's Association does the planning for the provincial conference as well as our own in-service training. The Northwest region sent out a survey for the 2022 provincial conference and our in-service training this fall, just in regards to attendance. I know it's a little early to say, but they're just trying or wanting to get a handle on if boards think there'll be less attendance at these events in the future. And like I said, I know it's a little early to tell, but it does cost a lot of money, obviously, to put these conferences on. So if it's only going to be half the attendance, obviously it'd be better for them to know from a planning standpoint. So I don't know if the board has any thoughts moving forward, if not changing due to COVID, financial restrictions, or is it just too early to tell?
Probably will change. I don't know if it should change or not.
Through the chair, so just as far as less attendance, or maybe people will be requesting to attend online or have that option?
Well, personally, I know our ratepayers are always bugging us because we go to these conferences and you always get comments about how much money you're spending. So administration, when they're told to find efficiencies, this is one place they're going to go to find efficiencies, and they'll be bringing it back to their boards and saying, if we don't attend it, we can set it up and do a virtual and go to these conferences virtually through the council chamber or whatever, and it will start. There will be. I don't like the change, but that's when you tell your administration to find efficiencies. That's one place they'll find efficiencies for you, because it is expensive to go to these conferences.
I'd probably respectfully just take a different position. I think, there obviously has been an interruption in what we've done, but I actually can foresee it for the most part to returning to how it was. I don't think for ASB conferences specifically, we've been pretty prudent. Some of it's just due to availability, but the whole board typically doesn't attend, I don't think, from Wheatland. We usually get some representatives, and it depends where it is and the timing, but it can be challenging. I think, I can justify attendance at a conference like that in person, because this is so foundational to the work that Wheatland County does. And I think it's important that this board take advantage of that opportunity to educate ourselves and to network, because sometimes it's a program that you hear or our team hears at a convention that they're at that then we can bring back, implement here, or best practice that we haven't thought of. There's so many opportunities. You completely lose that element in a virtual setting. There are efficiencies, I completely agree. And you can access the educational opportunity, but you miss out on, and it's not, I wouldn't even call it networking. You miss out on opportunities to learn about what other places are doing. And you can try and replace that by highlighting I've noticed some boards are highlighting programs from, certain members or that type of thing. But half the time you're just standing there and you're chatting with somebody and they mention something that they're doing, and then you have that opportunity to engage and ask questions and that type of thing. So
I don't disagree with you. I think you're right, but I think we will be down the road, and I'm not talking next year or the year, we will be forced into that, because most of the time when you're running these conferences, it's in the slower time in the fall of the year, and not predominantly, and I'm thinking of what we've looked at in the last year and a half, and we're looking at for the next year, is those things are held in the flu season, in the cold season. And the fear that's out there in the general public and the ones that are following us to sit at these tables are growing up with that fear ingrained in them. They will make that change.
I honestly don't think it will. Like when you look globally, where you have higher levels of vaccination and decreased levels of cases or significant health impacts or that type of thing, like people are returning to events, and I'm not seeing that globally. I hope you're wrong. I hope I'm right too.
I don't think it's going to be the people's choice as much as it's going to be the pushed on, like everything else. It's being
Perception.
Well, like from an Alberta perspective, they did outline yesterday late in the day what they anticipate seeing throughout the next several months, and it really is an anticipated return to life pre-COVID. So I know, and I critically think about everything, and I'm always a little skeptical too, but that is what they're laying out. So hopefully that's accurate. And
You're right.
I respect the challenge that these people organizing conventions are facing right now, because it's that unknown of what's going to happen. And
You'll probably see for a bigger convention, because of what will be forced on them to put in place, you'll probably see close to a doubling of cost.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Because they'll implement this kind of stuff to keep people. They don't.
Yeah, and yesterday they said like physical distancing, they had it based on sort of like our province had it based on levels of potential vaccination uptake, herd immunity, things like that. And I don't remember the exact ratio, but there was a point where physical distancing and masking, there was one point where it would no longer be mandatory, where it would be like recommended, and then there was a point where it wouldn't be necessary because you would have that like decreased level of incidence of illness, either through disease acquired immunity or vaccination. So time's going to tell for sure. But I think all we can do is really speak on behalf of our ASB. Like I'm imagining they're polling each ASB. So
For me, if I'm available to go and I have someone to cover my work, I'd be there. I prefer in person if I can. It's the preference, and getting out into a different area and meeting different people is the key to that. That's where you get new ideas. So, absolutely. And I'd be willing to take the risk to do it too. So. But if there's budget constraints and all that kind of stuff, well, we'll deal with that as it comes. Too many what ifs nowadays.
Jason or Russ, how many people typically from our ASB would go?
It depends. The first year it was just me and Russ. The second year was in Calgary, and I believe there was 6 of us.
I was at one.
We were in Calgary.
No, I think, wasn't it Banff 2 years ago?
Yeah, so 2 years ago. So it was Grand Prairie, Calgary, Banff.
Is that? Oh yeah, it was last year.
That's where your COVID from.
Right.
Yeah, through the chair, historically, it's been a wide range from everybody to just a couple members. So it just really depends on timing. Like you said, what other commitments the board has, but we have had years, like I said, where the entire board is attended as well.
And I guess cost to travel too, because I think Grand Prairie we were a little bit more
And we sat at
restrained.
the airport for 6 hours.
In the past, it was open to all the board members, and then they had that other convention that usually had that
Farm Tech.
Red Deer, and then it was on the same date, so you had a choice. You had one or the other. You couldn't charge for both.
I think it was the cost because they weren't on the same dates.
Yeah, they were.
Close.
At one point they might have been.
I went to both before.
At first, and then they had them. Some years they hit the same time, and then they changed it and said if you go to one, you take your pick.
Yeah, through the chair. And yeah, you're right. Some dates they conflicted and some they didn't. So yeah, that's been for the last number of years. It was an either or to pick one or the other of those. So. But
no, I don't. I don't know how it'll go. I'm not going to say anything about that. So.
Well, you can say whether you would be still like confirm that you'd be planning to attend, because I think even if we kind of.
Well, if I was an ASB member, I would.
Oh, I
planning
see
to attend no matter what. I mean, it wouldn't scare me any. But that's me.
I hope we keep them going.
I think a big thing is I understand that there is going to be benefits to go virtually, but I mean, the trade show is huge, especially for ASB, and you can't have that virtually.
Yeah.
Some have tried and it doesn't work
You
super
can't
well.
have it virtually. Trying doesn't mean can.
Through the chair, I think, so what I'm hearing is that if, the intent would be that we would be back to normal, we would attend if we could. So I think that's all the group is looking for at this time. So you've given me enough to be able to respond to the survey. So thanks.
And I don't know what the survey looks like, but even if we have to send chair and vice chair next year, I mean, if they want to put a limit on the amount, I think that's fine too.
Well, if you get picked to do this, do you get paid danger pay?
No, you're not a nurse.
Wow, both sides of the coin.
I'm trying to
good
fit
for
in
you.
now, guys. I'm trying to fit in.
But just for conversation's sake and double that, what you just said, if the ag boards look at it and limit it to the chair and vice chair or 2 members, the rest of the board is missing out. So they'll input the teleconference so that the rest can join in if they want to, and it'll.
Be a hybrid. Yeah.
So be careful what you got to do. If you want to keep it open, you got to keep it
one or
open.
the other.
Yeah, you be careful how you implement.
We're not Texas though. So I think that's enough direction for you, Russ. And there's no direction needed from that point in the agenda. So we'll move on to Reeves' chair's report. And there isn't a lot to report. I can't remember who all went to the provincial ASB. Nobody? Is there anybody?
Sounds like from the letters I wish I had.
Is there nobody that tuned in? Just me? Okay, well, I'll just...
Yeah, sorry. This is Gay. You didn't make a motion on that. For the future?
We don't need a motion.
ASB?
The recommendation isn't...
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Before we get into the provincial ASB that I'll just kind of touch on, or I don't know if Russ was planning to touch on any of the resolutions.
Yeah, through the chair, I was going to bring them forward probably at the next meeting with responses.
Yeah, that's good. I'll just kind of go through which ones were supported, but just to begin, seeding will be underway in a couple of weeks, as I'm sure you guys all know, and calving is underway, done for a lot of farmers, and ranchers are starting. I'm lucky enough to have an agriculture economic webinar tomorrow night that I will be happy to bring back my findings there to the next ASB meeting. But just to kind of go over the majority of the resolutions, I won't speak to ones that passed unless we seconded it. But there was a couple that didn't pass, and the one I found interesting, the provincial ASB members weren't willing to, it is the resolution 421, registration of 2% liquid strychnine. There's a lot of...
I attended the
Did you?
conference, yeah.
There was,
Resolutions now, sorry.
yeah, there was a lot of...
Like Tom said, I'm getting old.
strychnine resolutions, very redundant, and I think that's kind of why some didn't pass, is they kind of they asked to keep it open, but then the next one asked to have certain education programs in order for producers and people to sell it, and it wasn't super clarified, so that one was defeated with 78%. And then the other one that didn't pass was having an ASB member or active farmer that is an ASB member on commodity groups, organizations, and I think the majority of the discussion was it just wasn't our job to be on those organizations. So that was defeated with 86%. And then defeated with 72%, but there was an amendment in there. You guys will see the amendments. I'm not going through. There's so many amendments in the ASB resolution session that I'm not going to go through. And then I had the privilege of seconding Wheatland County seconded federal fuel charge, and it was therefore be resolved that Alberta Agriculture Service Board's request that Alberta Agriculture and Forestry, Alberta Environment and Parks, and Alberta Energy jointly lobby the Government of Canada alongside Alberta's Agriculture Service Boards and rural municipalities of Alberta to provide an exemption for all consumptions of propane and natural gas for all recognized agriculture production, including but not limited to grain farming, greenhouse, and other practices. And there was only one amendment that moved from a tax to a levy, and it passed with the highest with 97%. So that's really the high point of the conference. The speakers were good as usual. AAF, what's the total abbreviation? AAAF. AAF did a great job as usual. So other than that, there's not a lot to report. So it's been pretty slow, sadly, because of the government restrictions. So with that, I'll move my report as read. Any questions? Hearing none, I'll call for vote. Any opposition to the motion? Being and hearing none, that is carried. Russ.
Yes, thank you. As I mentioned, just in regards to the resolutions, when all the responses have been received, I'll bring that forward to the July meeting for discussion. So my report's in your package. I'll just highlight a few things. Our seasonal staff, majority started this week. We do have one that'll be starting later in the month. We have things like bag rolling that we're catching up on, some brush control work from cuttings that the Public Works has done this year on brush, and we treat it with chemical after that. Our Tiger Mower has been ordered, and it's supposed to arrive the first part of May, so hopefully we'll have that new mower in place for when we start our cut in about mid-June. Strychnine, we went to an online ordering system this year for a strychnine. Once we get the form developed and out to people, it's worked out fairly well. So form comes in, I approve it, and then an email goes back with the approval as well as a date and time to pick up. I think as everyone's aware, the registration on strychnine has been canceled, so we can sell it till March of next year, and producers have till March of 2023 to use it up. So we've done one full round of everyone I've had on the list from last year, and still have product left as people come in through the spring. And then I know there's people that want more as well. So we had a farmer pesticide applicator training online session booked for the end of March. Was in conjunction with Lethbridge County. Didn't have enough registered for it, and I think unfortunately it was just a matter of timing. It should have been done earlier in the year. So we'll continue trying to host those every year. And it's important that farmers are able to get that so they can purchase phostoxin for grain bin insect problems that they have. It's a restricted product that they need. Tomorrow we're going to be going to Drumheller Solid Waste Association to assist with some bag rolling. They're a collection site there as well. I know they've had some product come in that isn't rolled quite like it should be, so they requested that we come and assist with that, so we certainly will do that. and they can kind of see what the parameters are of what's acceptable with the program and what isn't. So communication plan, we've talked about environmental stewardship awards. As you know, we've had the one presentation this morning. There's we're kind of planning for April 19th at Rosebud for the remaining 2 awards. I think we might shift that somehow and just have a different plan in place for how we present those. Farm transition webinar, ag mental health webinar that was mentioned. We had a pollinator project webinar March 31st, and there is a shelter belt webinar tomorrow night at 7 in conjunction with Newell County, Bighorn, Nehill, Mountain View, us, and Oz. So yeah, I'm sure, I don't know if you know how many are registered for that, or?
It's pretty low. I think there's something like 30 people registered between all of those municipalities. We did have 100 people register last year for our in-person one, and they were all county residents, so I think that probably plays into it a bit. There are a few people. The intent of the webinar is to make sure that people planting trees using our program have a better chance of success, so those dollars are spent well, and many of the people using our program are registered to attend, so that's the purpose of it for us.
And just to kind of finish off on the shelter belt program, the funds, the 20,000, we have budgeted as fully allocated this year, and there has been quite a bit of outside interest on the program. Strathmore Now, Prairie Post elicited an interview, other municipalities, CBC News is running a story, so yeah, like I said, there's been lots of interest, outside interest in the program, so it's worked out really well. And then, as I mentioned, the grain bag hauling, we're at about 118 grain bags this year with probably about 60 farms visited, and that goes right through till June, as guys are wanting to seed right now. Obviously, they need the grain bags cleaned up if they're able to ship, so yeah, that program is busy as usual. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks, Russ. Any questions for Russ on the report?
Excuse me, sorry, I did miss one thing. I've attached the Alice meeting minutes to my report, which I'd forgotten about, so it's just there for your review.
If there's no questions, can I have somebody move manager's report? Scott has moved. Any discussion on the motion? Call the vote. Any opposition in accepting the manager's report? Being and hearing none, that's carried. Next, we'll move to Alberta Agriculture and Forestry Key Contact Report. Barb, you got the mic.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, I don't have much to report. I will say that we're told that sometime this week, hopefully the minister will be making an announcement on, excuse me, some changes to the CAP program. We've been told it will be announced this week, so as soon as we hear the announcement, we'll be able to inform the ag fieldmen and environmental coordinators and so on what any new details will be. There will be some programs that won't exist any longer, and there will be some new programs I think put in place. So once the minister's made that announcement, we'll sure pass that information along. Other than that, I'm sorry, I don't have much to report today. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Can I have a mover for Barb's report? Ben has moved. Any opposition? Any questions, sorry? Any opposition? Hearing and seeing none, that's carried. Move to correspondence of the Red Deer River watershed. Let's do BMO first. We'll end with the video.
Yeah, through the chair, just highlight a few things on page 100. It was just an email in regards to our BMO Farm Family Award nominations from 2020. Obviously, they weren't able to go ahead, so it's just letting us know the intent is to honor those families this year. So hopefully that can actually happen. Also on page 102, just the Clean Farms update. I just want to highlight that there's an unwanted pesticide and livestock medication collection that'll be happening in southern Alberta this fall. So when we have the details of that, we'll be sure to advertise it for our producers. And generally it's done through the retailers in the area, and it's rotating every 3 years. Clean Farms will do southern, central, and northern collection. So, and also on page 119, just to highlight the collection site tonnage from all the ag plastic sites in the province. Just note for us, we're at 111,000 kg. That was to December 31st of 2020, so roughly over double anywhere else in the province. And of course, that's because of our long-standing programs. So yeah, I think things are picking up collection-wise, though, with other areas as they get cleaned up, legacy material, and start into their programs. And I think, yeah, that's it, Mr. Chairman, other than the video.
Yeah. Do you have, before we get to the video, does anybody have questions on the correspondence? That is a part of the package. No? Might as well jump to the video then.
Sorry, video? Yeah, so just this was a video released on World Water Day. It was March 22nd, I believe, by the Red Deer River Watershed Alliance. Actually, Councillor Kester had alerted it to me and asked that this be put on the agenda. So it is quite a good video. It's about 15 minutes, so we'll just start it here.
15 minutes?
Are we still going to collect loose jugs at our sites, or are they all going to have to be bagged?
Yeah, they're...
Good with that, Gar?
Decision eventually travel. every decision that we make in development, finance,
People come in and talk to the landlord, and it's very important to have that communication with the people around the board and the landlord, and sit together and see what can be done. Yes, they don't have ideas, we don't have ideas, it has to be that collaboration between all the parties.
I love that picture.
Any other questions for correspondence? Ross.
Yeah, it is an excellent video. I just want to make a comment that Sarah Schumacher has also developed a video just kind of more with a local flavor of our local watershed and our programs, kind of everything related to water. So we'll bring that forward most likely the next ASB meeting.
Sounds good. Look forward to it. Can I have somebody accept the correspondence as information? Ben has made that motion. Any questions, discussion? Hearing, seeing none. Call the vote. Anybody in opposition? Hearing and seeing none. That is carried. With that, I believe that's the end of the agenda. So I appreciate everybody coming in today. And with that, I'll adjourn the meeting.